therapist. Someone that I work with actually assigned games, and so I got back into it. And we are here where we are today. I've got 20 years of NCAA experience. I've been in FIBA license since 2004, the WNBA since 2005. And really all that means is I've been around a while, I've got some gray hairs, and I've seen a lot of basketball and a lot of officiating. So the beauty of this, the beauty that after 20 years it's still exciting, is because the game is always changing. And I think that's what we all love about it, is it continues to be a challenge every night. And so having gone through this, I have a lot of people go, you know, hey, you've had success here, or you've had success there. What do I need to do to have that same success? And all I can really tell you is that anyone that's had success, me, Roberto, Scott Foster, you kind of have to find your own route. We can help you with the direction, but you've got to find your own path. And there's a few things in that, and the most important one to me is to just be yourself. Don't try to be Robbie. Don't try to be Scott. You can take pieces from everyone's game, but be yourself out there and find your own way. The other thing you have to do is you have to be willing to do the work. If you're not willing to take the time and grind at this, that's okay. Then you're just putting on the pants and the whistles and you're going to run around out there, but you're not ever going to have success. This is really hard to do. And to be successful, you got to put some time in. This is the hardest part. And we'll talk about this and how it relates to the video analysis, but that honesty, because none of us really, and I call it standing naked in front of the mirror, none of us really like to do that. So you, in order to have success, you really have to be critical when you look at your game and your analysis at all aspects of what you do out there. And the other thing that you have to embrace is that when you do have success, the reward is continued hard work. This may be one of the few avocations, professions, where when you reach the top level, you don't get the corner office. You don't get to put your feet up on the desk, think deep thoughts, and have the secretary run and get your coffee. You have to continue to grind. And it's because this game does continue to change. The players get stronger, faster, smarter. The rules change, the philosophies change. So even after you obtain success, you have to keep grinding. And as long as you know that going in, it makes it a little bit easier to accept that. So we were talking about golf a little bit earlier, and thank God, like the golf mentality does not pair up to golf skill set, or I'd be in big trouble. But I do find that officiating success kind of pairs with the golf mentality really well. You know, in golf, it's your successes has to do with your drive and your chip shots and your accuracy putting. It doesn't have anything to do with the person sitting next to you and what their drive looks like. It's all about what you can do and what you're working on and your skill set. So just like in golf and basketball officiating, your success is dependent upon your skills. And I think as officials, most of us were probably competitive athletes at one time. Most of us are type A. And so it's our nature to compare ourselves with someone else. But if you do that as an official, you're wasting your time and you're wasting your energy, and it's just going to cause you to be frustrated. So try to keep the golf mentality of working on your skill set, not worrying about the person sitting next to you. So with that being said, that means, you know, the competition now, that competitive piece we all have, that competition's in the mirror. So, you know, knowing that, like, where do we go from here? I don't need to run faster than Robbie. I couldn't anyway, but now I have to figure out what I can do to stand out and to improve and not worry about anybody else. So as we kind of look at where we want to go and what we're trying to achieve, honestly, it doesn't matter. The league doesn't matter. Whether you're starting in my little baby small college university league or you're trying to get to the NBA, the pathway to success is the same. And for me, it's these three things. It's rules knowledge, it's positioning in your IoTs, and then it's really being efficient and critical with your video breakdown. And that last piece is where we'll focus today, but I'd be remiss if I don't touch on these other two before we get there. So like the thing about rules knowledge to me, first of all, it's the easiest place to start. And if you're a first-year referee, you can control the time that you put into the books. You can't control what games you can't get. You can't control the fact that you haven't seen every block charge scenario there is out there, or you haven't dealt with this coach or this situation, but you can control your time in the rule book. And when I was young, I used to think, God, what, the veterans will carry me here. I don't need to know these, they'll get me through it. Well, now that I've got 20 years of doing this, it means I also have 20 years of different rule sets in my head, and rules changes and philosophy changes. So I might get them mixed up. And as a rookie, as a younger official, you can come save a crew by knowing the rules, because you've only got 1 or 2 or maybe 3 sets in your head. So that's a huge advantage. So leverage that. Is it fun? For most people, no. I kind of dig the rule book. I'm a nerd that way. But you can control your time in there. The manual, the rule book, the interpretations. These are actually all 5 sets of rules that I deal with at any one given time. So get in there. Veterans, we're not off the hook. Supervisors cannot defend a misapplication of the rule. I can defend if we kick a block charge, or you can defend a tough judgment play, but supervisors and assigners cannot defend us if we misapply a rule. So different reasons, but we all need to be in the book. The second thing is just positioning and your IoTs, and I think Robbie hit on those earlier in another session. You know, the positioning is important. Like, we don't stand in a certain spot because the manual says to. The manual tells us to be in a certain spot because that's what will increase our play call accuracy, which is our goal, right? We all want to be 100% in our play calling. So positioning is critical. Again, it increases our accuracy. You have to know your primary area of responsibility. I'm stunned every year when I ask, as part of my clinic I put on here, I'll ask officials to, right now, if you got a piece of paper, write a front court, just draw it out, and then draw your areas of responsibility for lead, trail, and center. And it's amazing how many of us can't do that. We should be able to do that like we're breathing. You shouldn't have to think about who covers what piece. So be strong with your knowledge of your primary, be patient and disciplined in your secondary, and then rotations. And I've got one video, we'll look at a little bit of rotations, but rotations are critical because, you know, if you're at trail or slot center, sorry, I'll use that term interchangeably, but if you're at trail or center, your positioning impacts you and your play call accuracy. If I'm too high at center, it really doesn't have a huge impact on trail or what lead's doing. But at lead, if we don't position ourselves most efficiently, we also mess up the crew. So those rotations become very critical. And we could spend a week on positioning and rotations, but we're gonna skip past that for today. And then we're gonna get to video work. So standing naked in front of the mirror, To me, this is 97% of the referee world is this cartoon picture right here. 97% of the world stands there a little bit not as nice of a package. And when I say that, I mean all aspects of your referee game. Fitness, rules knowledge, play call accuracy. 97% of referees in the world look in the mirror and they stand here and they see that. The other 3% are flip-flopped. They've got this great package and they look in the mirror and they're always looking for where can they trim the fat, where can they make improvements. And so, you know, making yourself do that, again, it isn't fun and it doesn't feel good. We all like to think that we're great, but if you want to get better, you got to find the spots where you can tighten things up just a little bit. And so video work is where that comes into play. The general video, we just want to watch as many plays as possible. Watch everybody's plays, watching games, just seeing plays, and it creates a library in your head where you've seen that pre-dribble travel so many times that when it happens in the game, you recognize it immediately. So that's that building that library. You want to watch your games, obviously, and we'll talk about that when we look at these video clips. You want to look at every aspect. Where can you trim the fat? Where can you tighten things up? Are you as good as you think you are? And by looking at the video, you can improve your IOTs. And with all of this, you have to be honest in that evaluation. And it's not easy, but you have to be honest about your decision-making, about your positioning, and about your presentation. So a few things that I go through when I am going to do a breakdown. I look at my initial position and I wear the pause button out on my computer or whatever. I am stopping the game, looking at where I'm at, stopping the game, looking at where I'm at. Am I in the right position? I'm also looking at where are my eyes? What am I looking at? And I've got a couple examples where you'll be able to see what the official is or isn't looking at. And so when you watch your game, that's a huge part of your play call accuracy. And that goes back to knowing your primary areas of responsibility and what to look for. But again, this should be like breathing as well. I look at position adjustments, whether I step down, step up, step in. Does it have a purpose, or am I just out there moving around to be moving around? Presence and presentation, when we make our signals, how we stand, what it looks like when we blow our whistle. You know, what do we project out there? So I'm going to assess that on most of my breakdowns. I'm also looking for trends. Am I too tight at lead? Am I too wide? Am I too high at trail? And if I see that once or twice, okay, it's not a trend. If I see it repeatedly, then I need to make a plan and adjust that going into my next game. And then the final piece is decision-making and accuracy. And I make this so small because that piece of this is such a small part of why we do video breakdown. If we go back to that cartoon with the guy in front of the mirror, the 97% of officials out there, number 6 is their biggest thing when we break down video. They pop it in, they go, yep, I'm right. No, didn't get it right, shoot. They shut down the video and they go away. You want to be the 3%. You want to be the 3% where 1 through 5 is what's important when you're breaking down your video, not number 6. And honestly, when you've been doing this a bit, if you're any good, you probably already know the ones that you kicked or probably kicked before you even get to the video. I mean, we always have those 1 or 2 really tough plays, bang, bang plays, but in the general scheme of things, you probably already know the plays you want to go back and look at. So for me, the decision on the play is a tiny piece of this. Of course, unless it's the last play in a tie ball game in a national championship game, okay, then that's important. So when I do the video breakdown, I look for those. Again, it's not the validation, it's the why. Why did I get it wrong? Why did I get it right? I'm creating that library of plays in my head. I'm recognizing patterns, and then I'm developing a plan. And this picture over here is actually, I've got a little notebook right here. And this is a page of that notebook, you know, $2 at the drugstore. And at the beginning of the game, I write 1 or 2 things I want to work on. So for this game, I wanted to be wider at lead. And I am the most impatient, fastest whistle in the West when I'm the center and we've got a block charge play. So those are the 2 things I'm focusing when I go into this game. Because of what I've done over here with recognizing patterns and developing a plan, then after the game, I come in and just give myself a plus or a minus. Yep, I was much better this game. I was wide at lead. Second quarter of this game, I beat my lead to a block charge play. I got to get better. And so then I just write some other little notes from the game, but that's how I use the video analysis to develop my plan. So this summer, I was somewhere with Joey, and he said, you know, to know where you're going, you must know where you are. And so if we circle around back to that first slide about knowing where you want to go, you can't get there if you don't know where you are right now. And that's what all this video analysis is about. So with that, let's try to jump over and look at a few plays. I'm going to quit sharing this. All right, everybody keep your fingers crossed. We'll see if this comes up. All right, so far so good. Okay, everybody see that okay? Awesome. And you know, as we go along here, if you have questions, throw them in the chat, and then Paul, I'll let you kind of field those when we need to, if that's okay. And then at the end, we can come circle back around too. So see if we can pull this first play up. All right, awesome. So spoiler alert, there's no call that's going to be made in this play. There's no whistle. And we could spend 40 minutes on just this video clip, looking at all those things that we just listed about presentation, where are your eyes, what are your position adjustments, and again, there's no decision to be made here. So if this is my video, the way I would start is I would just freeze it right here and go, okay, where's our initial position? Clearly we're in transition. I know at center, I've got the middle third of the pack. And when I say talk about looking at where my eyes are, I mean, I don't know if I can zoom here. Let's erase that. But you can see that I'm looking through the players, not up the floor. And we can look at the new lead. Yenner's actually looking back at the players. He's not looking up the floor. This is great. This is what you want to see. So I'm just going to let this play through, and then we'll circle back. Really run-of-the-mill, boring little play. Okay. So as we go, things that kind of stand out, I'm going to look at my position as soon as this ball comes into the front court, because now it's in my primary. This is I've got the competitive, I've got the ball, the competitive matchup, which obviously this isn't overly competitive right now. And so I analyze that, and on the floor, I'm thinking, what's going to hurt me? Right now, it's not the on-ball matchup. So I'm not worried about it. I'm aware of it. And as I look at video, I want to watch where my eyes go to see if I'm on what's most likely to hurt me. And if we go frame by frame, you know, initially I'm worried about this potential screen right here. It goes away. And then I change where my eyes are. But I'm gonna back up a little bit because there's a whole bunch going on here. Where's my primary? Who's gonna hurt me? Where are my eyes? And then this little bit of this piece about the presentation. And when I play this, I'm gonna tell you, when I saw this, I went, oh God, I look arrogant as hell here. Just my stance, my presentation. Posing. That is a peacock stance if I've ever seen one. And yeah, I feel all cool, I'm skinny, I'm fit, because I just passed the yo-yo test, which all Americans hate because we don't do it over here. And so I'm feeling great out there. But if I want to look in that mirror and be honest with myself, what does that project? And if you've never worked with me, or you're a coach and you've never seen me, and this is the first 2 minutes of the game, that projects arrogance. It projects that I'm probably not approachable. And so you have to be honest with yourself. I mean, do I want to tell you that I stood here and looked like a little peacock? No, it doesn't, you know, that's not what I should be doing at the level that I'm working. But I now have seen this. And when I break down my video, the rest of this game, I want to know if this was just a one-off, you know, chance stance, or if this is something that's sneaking into my game. And if it is, I want to take it out. So that's what we talk about, or what I'm talking about when I say presentation and presence, because that has an impact on everything else you do as an official outside of making a decision. All right, and let's see. So let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit. So, all right, little peacock look. Now this ball gets passed. As soon as that ball gets passed out of my primary, you can see that my head moves. Sorry, technology. Yeah, I can't do it. Okay, but you can see the ball gets passed, and now immediately I get off the ball. And we've all worked with, we all have been ball watchers before. And it's painful to see a game and see yourself being a ball watcher. So this is what you want to look for when I talk about where are your eyes. So the ball goes out of my primary. Let's see if I can shrink this down. And now I am finding moving players in my primary area of responsibility, and that's who I'm refereeing. And so when I look at the video, I'm pretty happy with myself at this point that I'm off ball and I'm finding my next matchup. Okay, I've position adjust, I've moved down, and I would look at that like, should I have gone down earlier? Okay, this is a pretty good spot considering the screen. I move on down. I probably could have stepped down faster as that matchup comes above, the cross step. And now I know that the only thing I really have to watch now is a potential curl play. We go back, and again, this is tedious. This is tedious. This takes time. It takes energy. It's not necessarily a lot of fun. But this is how you get better. And we continue this out. I look at the rebound. I don't bail out at center. I've maintained my position. Trail maintained his position and moved to get a look at the play. So we could have a look at this three-point shot. We could talk about that position. And that's how I would break down a play. Absolutely no decision to make on this call, on this one play, and we've spent 5 minutes and we've found something to change or at least keep an eye on in my presentation. We've seen where the eyes are, the transition. This is what you're looking for. So we'll do the same thing on another play from this game. Any questions so far? We good?
All good. No questions yet, Amy.
All right, awesome. So on this one, there actually was a call to make, and I didn't make it. So I would judge this as a no call incorrect on me. And I knew it on the floor. I knew I missed something. So now I want to know, why did I miss it? All right, so I'm going to let it play through, and then we'll come back and get it. Okay, everybody see the play? We got this screening action up top, right here. So, again, if I want to be honest with myself, I think I'm a little cool for school when I'm standing out here on the floor. I'm in great position to start. I've got this low post matchup down here. I'm on that. I know that Zowie B, number 17, and Scott are intense players. And I know that from scouting video. That's another piece of our video work that you can bring into this. And as we go forward, my eyes are to the screen. Everything's good. Positioning's good. Our lead positioning's good. Trail's fine. And I'm looking at this play, and I'm on it. I am looking right at this play. Great. Good girl. But then, because I'm working so hard to go from defender to defender, I'm working hard to go from Scott to my next defender, that I don't stay on this long enough. Knowing that these two players are a little bit feisty, I don't stay on this long enough. And I immediately go to the next matchup, which I don't need to do because I have help. Lead's got nothing else. Lead's got nothing else to look at. They can help. Trail's got a pretty good look here. So nobody can help me with this. I've got to stay on that. And when I look at video, then I need to make sure that I'm not coming off these screens too early every time. It's just something that, you know, again, you have to be honest with yourself. And a lot of people will look at this and go, nothing happened, play on. But this is early in the game. Scott, number 12, clearly wraps Zowie. And now Zowie hooks her arm. And now we got a mess because I didn't stay on this play long enough. I'm already looking right here. Now, luckily, nothing else comes of it. But again, it's not so much about whether I got it right or wrong. It's clearly an incorrect call. But why? Okay. Let's see if we have another. Any questions on that one?
Not yet, no. If anybody, there may be people might be shy to put in a question, but may not be shy to turn on their mic. We Irish are great at talking, Amy.
Yeah, maybe with a pint or two, then we get the questions going, right? No worries. Okay. So this is a clip from your neck of the woods. Let me see. Any of the officials on this game, on this clip, are they on this call?
Yes, at least.
Yes.
Who is it?
Myself, I'm a lead at the moment.
Who's at lead?
Orosh, myself.
Orosh, okay. Do you mind if I break this play down a little bit?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, let me let you start. Tell me one thing, just as we freeze this and just look at initial positioning, anything stand out to you?
Who is the ball? The wing, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, the ball's right here. Sorry. Let me clear that out. All right, so you're good with all the positioning and stuff right here, right now. Initial setup.
Initial, yeah.
Okay. So one other thing I want to point out before we go any further. Also know that each section of the world has a little bit different philosophy on positioning and mechanics. So if I say something about where I would stand or where I would want someone to stand, know that that's in my system, and the minutia, the detail is not important. It's the assessment of, are you where you should be based on the system that you're working? Does that make sense? So if I say you should step down, if in your system, in your league, you've been trained to step up, okay. The principle is, and the concept is, that we're evaluating if we're in the right spot based on the system that we're working. So keep that in mind as we go forward. But for me, like on all three positions here, I would tweak this a little bit. At lead, I think you're very deep. Like you're almost behind the basketball stanchion. And so again, if that's what you're taught, okay. But if it's not what you're taught, then I would ask why. Why are you so deep there? Let's see if this can play. That would be one thing I'd look at. I would look at the trail. That ball's down below. I've lost my ability to scribble on this. The ball's below the free throw lane line extended, right? So why at trail, I would ask, are we backing out to the mid-court line? We're completely out of the play now. And also have put ourselves in a position that we're behind the shooter. And if I need to come make a call, I've got no credibility. One, I'm probably not going to make a call from mid-court because you're so detached from the play. And if I do, no one's going to believe me. So I would look at that at trail. And then at center, I would look a little bit about that presentation and that stance. Like, why are we perpendicular to the sideline at center and not parallel? And again, if that's what you're taught, fine. But just these are the things that I'm looking at when I break down a video. So if I look at trail here, the ball goes down. I've kind of gone down. I would want to be, and I call it the 28-foot mark. I don't know why I can't draw on this now, so forgive me. But where the speaker is up against the wall, kind of the coaching box, that black line, that's where I would want to be if I'm trail. And I would, again, look at this video, and if I'm above that on every possession, on every play, I'm gonna ask myself why, and then I'm gonna look for that trend and make the adjustment. All right, and then I'm gonna let this play out. And I would assess then the presentation when I blow the whistle. Also, where are my eyes? If I'm at center, am I watching the ball? Maybe. So I blow my whistle and I'm on the move. I'm gonna look at that. Is that something I do every time? And really break down the assessment of what I look like. Is that strong? Is that whistle blow and move strong? Or do I look stronger if I go beep, beep? Like, I got this. And now I start moving towards the table. I'm just let that play all the way through. So again, it's tedious. It's not very exciting work to do, but you can learn so much. Again, this is one 5-second clip that we can really get so much out of our positioning, our repositioning, and our presentation. Okay, let me try to get out of this somehow. Ah, there we go. Okay. One other one, and I don't think this is from your finals. Anyone on this clip? On the call?
There's two
Yeah,
of the three. Good girl, Emma.
Okay, awesome. Again, do you guys mind if I break this down a little bit?
Not at all.
Okay. Emma, are you out there at trail?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to jump. I'm going to play it. And then I want you to see if anything stands out to you about your positioning or center's positioning. Again, there's no decision on this play whatsoever, which goes back to the video work is not always about validation. So I'll let this play through and then we'll come back. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. So let me ask you this, Emma. Are you guys taught to back out to mid-court when the ball goes towards the basket?
No, it's more of a cross step to ensure that we can see the drive, but in that it was a bit of an exaggeration, so too far perhaps.
Well, I just wondered because I've seen it on a couple of different videos. So that would be something, again, that I would look at, like that position adjust, the cross step is critical to minimize that closed look. I think that's brilliant and I love it. But then I would ask, why such a big movement when you only need the one step? And then I would say the same thing, you know, if you want to take it a step further, like when we talk about repositioning and position adjustment, like it has to be with a purpose. So the first step I get because of the cross step, but then I would ask myself, what are the next 4 steps back towards mid-court? What's that do for me? Because I promise you, as you all get older, you're going to want to minimize your steps out there. It's just, you're going to slow down. They're going to keep going just as fast as they always do. So we want to be efficient in our movement and then also from a presentation standpoint. But Emma, I would say, okay, you do your cross step like right now, perfect. But I'd say, why keep going? And I would also evaluate, why not go low? Why not go under this other than he's going low? And, you know, it's easy sitting here to pick one way or the other, and there's not a perfect situation for every play that we come across. But I would go, gosh, I'm really high in there. Am I doing that all the time? I don't need to. I would like to see you get up under the player in red out there. Get up under him because you can't do anything from mid-court. And then over here at center, same thing. I like the initial setup. You're just a step above the free throw lane line extended. Okay, no big deal. But when this dumps down into the corner, why the turn and the step back? Any thoughts?
No idea. I mean, yeah, it's me. I think that the only thing what get to my head right now is it's okay. This is like a national arena that is loads of space. Most of our gyms that are quite narrow, and maybe sometimes we are using this step moving backward to find the best angle that we could see. Could be not in this case, right? Because there's loads of space, but this could be the habit that by doing loads of games in other places, or even get the better angle.
Yeah, and so, yeah, and that's all this is about. It's not about that. I mean, look, we all move into positions that aren't necessarily ideal, and we all miss plays, and we all have mechanics. I had some squirrely out of bounds call the other day that I don't know what I did with my hands, but it looked awful. And again, as long as it's just a one-off thing, and this isn't, it's not to beat anybody up. It's just, gosh, why am I turning and stepping back away from this play? Because if you take it a step further, like we did with Emma, so now it comes back out, you have to hustle back down to get to the spot you were to begin with. And so if you would have stayed there and just turned slightly, then you're much more efficient and you're in a better position after this play dissipates if you would have just stayed. So again, it's not about beating anybody up, and it's not about right or wrong. It's finding those pieces, those little habits that you have that may take away from your efficiency, because if this play happened to be faster and went to the hole immediately, and you're now fighting to get back down towards the free throw lane line, you're moving, and we all know we're not as accurate when we're moving. If you can find a way to be more stationary and ready for the play, then your accuracy goes up. So that's all that this is about. And I know, again, it's tedious sometimes and it's boring, but if you don't look at video, you may not realize, like Emma, you may not realize you go almost all the way back to mid-court, or you may not realize that you turn and step away from this three-point shooter in center's area. And that's all this is about. Again, there's no decision to make on this. So this is just the one piece when we talk about positioning and positioning adjustments and presentation that you can take away from this. Let's see, I'm gonna show another clip here, and we do miss a call. This one actually has a decision that should have been made. And thanks, guys. Thanks for letting me break that down. I know it's never fun to be on display there, but I do appreciate that. This play, same thing. I'm going to let it play through, and let's try to figure out why we missed this call. And probably like the three referees, we're all watching the ball, right? The area that our problem is going to be down here in the low post. I'll play it one more time. Okay. And sorry, apparently my neighbors are cleaning their carpets and the van is outside, so if you hear this humming noise, it's me, and I apologize. I love 2020. All right, so a couple things on this. We break it down again, play by play, and then we'll get to maybe another play or a little more exciting play or two. But first of all, when we talk about the rotations earlier, and we pick this up in the middle, so our lead is rotating, great, except the ball comes back. And ideally, we would quit our rotation and go back over, because the ball and now 8 players more or less have gone. And he goes, but it's too late. We need to recognize that sooner. So when you're breaking your rotations down at lead, are you going soon enough? And are you backing out if the play changes? Like most cars have a reverse, use it. If you watch our trail center, depending on where our lead's doing, watch his reaction when this player muffs the ball. I don't know if you can see him because that control's there. Let me see if I can move that a little bit. Let's try that again. Watch our guy out there. He flinches, so what's that tell you? He's watching the ball, right? To the opposite side of the court and granted, I mean, let's be real, there's nothing very exciting going on. This isn't competitive, that's not competitive, but there's no reason he should be looking over here. And he gives it away because he flinches. So look for that in your game. Are you ball watching? And then the important part of this is, why did we miss the play? And our lead goes over. He does a good job. See if I can expand this. Nope. He does a good job of going over. His eyes are right where they need to be. He's watching this matchup right now, which is fantastic. But as soon as it clears, where is he watching? He's watching the ball. And he gets caught. And the reason we know he's watching the ball is because this gal right here is going to get butt checked to the floor, and he doesn't know it until he starts to walk across for the inbound play. He's got no idea. Oh shit, she's on the floor. What just happened? So again, I don't care. We all miss plays. We all miss plays. The video work is, why did we miss it? And that's the lesson in all of this. It's so much fun. I'm gonna jump ahead. I've got another couple plays. It's so much fun to watch plays and go, did they get it right or get it wrong?
It's like a lot, right?
It is. A lot of schools are going with it now, and the subscriptions for ESPN Plus have
Started this one
skyrocketed for good reason.
It's a great source for college
Awesome.
basketball.
Every coach in America uses it.
Right, that's a lot more fun. Hey, did we get it right? Did we get it wrong?
For college
Awesome.
basketball.
Every coach in America uses it.
That's the fun part about video watching. And if you're that 97% looking in the mirror, you're going to look at this and go, yep, got it right, great, let's go. But Cheney, and I know Cheney well, she's watched so much video that when she's looking at this, she already knows that this is a player she has to get to. And she knows that because she's watched video so much. And she's created that library of plays in her head that when she sees this drive starting, she doesn't go to the ball handler. If you go to the ball handler, you're going to have to guess. If you're watching the ball handler right now, you're going to have to guess once that play gets to here, because you're not going to know if the defender was there first or not, or if they're in the restricted area. But because Cheney's watched these plays over and over and over and created that library in her head, she knows that when that drive starts, I got to get to the moving player. And she gets there. She correctly makes an offensive foul decision, her signal's strong, and then off we go. That's the fun part, right? Like, I've got thousands of plays that we could put up. But the piece to take away from this is why we're looking at them, what we're taking away from that as we look at them. You know, there's so many different pieces to that. So, Paul, I've got a few more plays we can look at, or we can open up for questions, whatever you like.
We've won. It goes back to one of your second video, the one you were in.
Yeah.
And the question is from a new referee here in Ireland, and he just wants to know, how do you manage that with two referees, the 2PO? How do you manage this screen? I know you can't see my mouse at the moment, but when the screen is done on the elbow, how do you cover it in a 2PO situation?
And I'm going to be completely honest. I've worked like two-person games ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when I started, even our high school was 3PO. And college has always been 3PO. And when I came into FIBA, it was 3PO. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask. But I would assume, and somebody else jump in here and help. I'll take any of the help I can get. But if we're looking at this play, I assume if it was 2PO, I would be positioned up here, right?
No. Sorry, lead would be further across or the other side, and trail would be up high. Yeah.
So lead would come over to here,
Yes, over this side, over your side, strong
and
side.
then where would I be?
You'd be at home because it's 2PO. Sorry, Amy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I apologize. It's outside of my scope.
Don't worry, don't worry. We would
That's
have
the struggle here in Europe. Like the leagues are so low that many games are just with 2 refs all the time. So
Sure.
that's normal around here.
Yeah, and the problem there, Patrick, is that it's probably the big danger area is where that screen is being set and the side it's on. If we have a high trail, who would be seeing it, or we have the lead with a good open angle, then it's covered. But yeah, I reckon it's the hardest part, and it's why they brought in 3PO. It's one of the reasons.
Yeah. I would just, and I don't know, one of the things we teach with screening here on this particular play, and I think you could do it with 2PO or 3PO, but these stacked screens are 2-person, they need 2 people to officiate them. And I don't know if this will fit what you're talking about, but like if I'm trail or even here on center, I'm responsible. This would be my first responsibility. Second, this would be number 3 for me, and that's my 4th person that I have to get. So obviously I can't get all 4 of those on my own, but if I take 1, 2, and then 3, and then say it's lead in this case, but more often when these plays happen up here, it's between the center and the trail, then the trail would make this 1, 2, 3, and 4 in area as far as who they're watching. And so when you cross over, and you could do that in 2-person as well, if it was between lead and trail. I start at the top, you start at the bottom, and hopefully we catch the illegal activity somewhere in the middle. I don't know if that helps, but that's one, that's how we use 2 people to officiate screenplays.
Also shows the importance, Amy, of discussing this in your pre-game, whether it's a local game, a high school game, underage, whatever. It's important for a pre-game that you do decide on the division of responsibilities before you start.
For sure. And that goes back to what we talked about earlier about knowing your primary areas of responsibility, whether it's 2-person or 3-person. If you don't know what you're supposed to be watching, you will never be watching the right thing, or you'll get lucky. And honestly, I know there's a saying, better lucky than good, but I'd rather be good and get lucky once in a while.
We're very slow going into the chat. I might push you on to another one. Just while you're setting it up, I just noticed in the cup final there with Emma and Magic, the exaggerated movements. If you looked at the score, there was a basket in it with just over a minute to go. And I think it might have been just, not that one, it might have just been a little bit of heightened tension on their part. I'm sticking up for the 2 of them while they're quiet. And just for the one previous to that, the one you just had up there, all 3 referees on that were probably doing their first or second ever 3PO game. So,
yeah. But so even better reason to break down the video, right? If it's your
Absolutely.
first one or your 100th one, it's a good way. It's easier to break a habit after 1 or 2 than after 100, I promise you, because every time I come to do a FIBA game to try to put my hand up for an out of bounds, I'm a mess. So start early and make this a part of your routine. And then to kind of piggyback on that piece about this being, we're under 2 minutes in a 2-point game in a final. If you find these trends and get them out of your game, and you develop your fundamentals, and that becomes your habit, then in the most critical time of the game, you're in your most fundamentally sound position and movement. Because that's what you want to fall back on, right? If the intensity is so high, you want your positioning to be something that you don't have to think about. You want your presentation to be something that you don't have to think about. And so again, that's why you look at this stuff, because you probably don't realize when you're looking at this or when you're out on the court that you are stepping high or low or whatever it is you're doing. You probably don't recognize it until you see it on video. And so it just goes back to the importance of watching yourself and seeing what it is you're doing out there.
I think just to add what Paul and yourself would just mention, I think each of us heard multi times, especially in the close game, in the last minute or less, in the end of the game, just be where it need to be to see the call, to see the play, and that's what we probably in not in error, but like we're trying to be everywhere and we're trying to see everything just because it's last minute and it's close game, and just let's make sure that referees don't decide on the final score and who's going to win or lose.
Yeah. I agree with that, but don't make that an excuse, right? I mean, don't let that, and I'm not saying that you are, but I'm just saying, and I agree with that, and I've got a play. Let me see if I can share this play. I was, actually, maybe it's on here, hold on. Bear with me 1 second, sorry. It was supposed to be in the set, and for some reason, it's not. Okay, let me share this again. Hang tight, y'all.
Okay, while you're just getting that up, I think we're all admiring Maro's Christmas tree. It's still, how are you? It's still November.
I've got a Snoopy Christmas tree I put up. It's like one little stick in one ball.
Lovely.
All right, so let's look at this play, and I'm going to piggyback up your point of end of game, and you know we have our mechanics and we have our guidelines and our manual that tell us where to be, where to position. But to your point, you have to get to where you can be to see the play. So I've got the program feed, and then I'll show a replay. And this is a really tough game. All right, so before we get started, note time and score. And oh, by the way, it's the #1 team in the country and an unranked team. And the unranked team's at home, so they got a shot at winning this, all right? The team in white is the team down 3, and they've got the ball.
For the chance, will Kansas foul?
Well, maybe the last time.
Moretti for 3. Is he fouled?
Is he fouled?
The ball goes out of bounds.
Let me play that through without all the jumping around.
Will Kansas foul?
Well, maybe the last time.
Moretti for 3. Is he fouled?
Is he fouled?
Okay, like I wish I could do a poll. How many people think we need a whistle on this play?
He stepped into his zone, so I would say that's a foul.
Okay.
Like he didn't let him land in his own spot.
Right. So now I'm going to show you a replay. So this is another piece about evaluating. Like I know one of my weaknesses is being fast in my secondary. So if I'm this official right here, I've probably come put a whistle on that. And so again, watching video to know what your tendencies are. And there's going to be 2 replays here.
Worth another look. Let's see.
No, I don't know. What do you think?
I think that's a foul.
Huh?
I think that hip into the shooting.
Okay, so Dickie V isn't always right, just for the record.
No, it's not a foul because he extended his legs out to the right. I didn't see that. So yeah.
Right. So the piece that fits and why I put this play as part of this discussion is that if we go back here, let me see if it's wide enough. I may need to go back to the first replay or the first play. But Chance, who's our trail, he's a good buddy of mine. This guy right back here coming up the floor. He had this very similar play the season prior in a different game, and he missed it. You put a whistle on it and was incorrect. And he said what he took away from that was the positioning. So instead of going down to the 28-foot mark where we tell you to go for lead in the front court, like you said, Magic, the last play of the game, we have to get into position to see it. And so he changes his position and he comes way out almost to the center of the floor to get a look through this play. And I think if he would have not seen this on video from the season prior, he wouldn't have made this position out onto the floor to get the angle through, and he would have put a whistle on this and been incorrect. And you can see it when we go over to this side. And this is a high-level play. This doesn't happen in every game. It happens a lot at the pro level, the leg kicks, and you see it in the FIBA game, guys kicking their leg out. But if you don't watch these on video and analyze what happens, you're gonna either be lucky or unlucky. You're not gonna be good or bad. And by watching the video, you give yourself a chance to be good. So as we go through,
Foul.
0 is going to miss this shooter. He's gonna go by the shooter, except that, like you said, he sticks his leg out right here. And you can see that the offensive player is who creates the contact. This is not an easy play. But the important piece is Chance comes out on the floor to give himself the opportunity to see this play. You know, and whether he could have stayed back here a little bit more, but he sees this play because he looked at video from last year where he missed it, and he gets it right on this one. And this is just about creating that library of plays to keep in the back of your head. It's not an easy play at all. So, you know, we're just trying to give ourselves the best opportunity that we can to get these plays right. So, anybody on that one, or anyone want to see something different on that one?
On that one, I wanted to ask you, the ref who's across him on the sideline, was he supposed to be a bit lower? I just felt like he can't really see it from...
You mean this guy here? Here, let me go back to the overhead.
Yeah, the guy closest to us.
Yeah, so really, you know, like Magic said, the important part on this play at this time in the game is this call. So
the screen?
This whole screen right here. Like, I don't know if he goes lower, I don't know that it really helps him. But what he is set up to do is we talk about getting under jump shooters. Have you guys heard that term before? He is in a good position to be under this shooter. And normally, in a normal situation, a normal front court set, Chance would work to get under this shooter. But he doesn't have time. And so he has to go where he can go. But for me personally, Kelly right here is in a good spot.
Okay, all right. I'm new to it, so it was just a genuine question. I
wasn't
sure.
I love it. Ask away. You ask every single question you want to ask. I love it. Bring them.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Sure. You know, and if he's down here, maybe he's got a better shot looking up at the screen. But really, Chance has to take the screen, and Kelly's got to help get under the play. But that's why we do it. We break it down. You know, and there's other situations. I think I've got a play on here where we're talking about rules. You know, we talk about getting in the rule book. Well, this is one. We'll go back to that one maybe. I could keep doing this all day. So you tell me when you need to shut it down, because really, I'll just keep going. I've got thousands of plays. This play happened in my little league, and I'll just let it go through. We get it right. All right, so they call over and back on this play. And Patrick, you said you're new, so you know I'm sure you're in the rule book, and if you're not, you will be now. But we know you can't have over and back off a rebound unless we've established team control. And so we might know that in the rule book, and you might be able to pass the exam because you've studied. But sometimes it helps to see these plays. So another reason you get into the video work is that you can go, oh, that's the play that we were talking about. So we've got a shot, goes up, there's never team control. I think it's probably lagging now, it looks like. No one ever has possession. White's last to touch, first to touch, but it doesn't matter. And so this is one of those kind of squirrely rules plays that if you see it on video, then when you get in the game, you go, yep, that's it, not over and back. And you save yourself, I don't want to say the embarrassment of blowing a whistle when you shouldn't and having that inadvertent whistle. It's only embarrassing if the crew doesn't get it right. But if you can just let normal play go, and you have seen this play, you're also very confident when the coach comes running at you going, oh my God, that's over and back, and you can go, no, it's not, coach, because you've seen it and you recognize it.
Is over and back like backcourt violation?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I forget, like English isn't, you know, we all have our own little, like slot and center and that kind of stuff. So thanks for asking. So that's an easy rules play. I got one more, and it's a FIBA play. And a lot of you may have seen this play. It created quite a stir at the World Cup. I don't think anyone on this call is involved in this play. But let's just kind of look at it. And again, it's not about right or wrong. We all miss plays. And if that's what you leave this session with, I'm heartbroken, because I can promise you, no matter how many games you've worked, if you have a thicker resume, a thicker number of games than I do, you're still going to miss plays. I'm going to miss plays. We're all going to miss plays. And if that's what you worry about when you're looking at video, I've wasted everybody's time today. So don't get caught up on that part when you see this. And if you don't think this can happen to you, you've lost your mind, because this can happen to anybody. So let's just look, it's end of game, 30 seconds to go. I think it's tied or it's close. They'll show a replay. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this off because I think that'll be the last play. Again, looking at that scenario, you can see that we missed a basket interference, right? Ball's clearly on the rim. He taps it off while the ball's sitting on the rim. If you study this play on video, you can put yourself in the shoes of the officials and go, okay, wait, we're under 2 minutes. We're in a close ball game. By rule, we can go to the instant replay to review this, but only if we have a call on the floor, right? So there's our rules piece from earlier, my rules hit. You got to know the rules. If you study the video piece and you can start putting those two things together. I know what the rule is. Here's the play. If I'm in this situation again, I'm going to blow my whistle and call basket interference, and I'm going to go to the monitor and review this and get this play right.